before you buy something, before you go into and spend your hard-earned money, make sure you've really thought through this kind of filter of, is this really something I'm going to use? Am I going to commit myself to it? Is this really going to solve the problem that I need solved before you buy something? Because there's going to be a lot of things for you to buy and a lot of great sales tools out there. But the only thing that's really going to work is the thing that you're going to stick with.
You are now listening to the podcast where authors inspire listeners to become authors, the Going North Podcast. I'm your host, certified self-leadership trainer, best-selling author, and book enthusiast, DomBrightmon. And you're going to be listening to a different author that will inspire you to join the business of immortality, known as authorship. Now let the fun begin. Today's episode is sponsored by book number 2 from DomBrightmon, Stay the Course, The Elite Performer's 7 Secret Keys to Sustainable Success. It is the field guide to help unleash the elite performer that is inside of you. Cop it today on Amazon.com or heading over to DomBrightmon.com and snag it in book, ebook, and audio book, so that way you can take it on the go and get yourself on the go to your northbound success. And today on the highlight reel builder for authors known as the Going North Podcast, we got another super special, awesome human for you today, courtesy of Podmatch.com, the wonderful site where podcast guests get to connect with podcast hosts, and if they're cool, they're freaking in. And today's guest is cooler than 2 cucumbers indeed, because we got another best-selling author in the building. All that's right indeed. That's right indeed. Folks decide to hit that buy button, buy the book, maybe take a selfie with it, maybe pray to it, maybe do a handstand with it, maybe even do a Tough Mudder race with it, because today's wonderful guest, y'all, the lady behind the book that we're going to be chatting with today, is a marvelous mom as well as a wonderful wife, a speaker, and wellness advisor. So let's give it up for the kind and magnificent, the one and only Kelly Majdan. How you doing today, Kelly?
I am fantastic, Dom. Thank you. How are you doing today?
Doing good in the neighborhood. That's right, indeed. So that's when it involves all the neighbors. Hello, neighbor. That's right. Even the evil neighbor, as long as they don't do the witchcraft, we're good. That's right,
No,
indeed.
just laugh. It's all good.
Yeah, you're right. That's right, indeed. Especially if they wear a hood, they'll definitely be in the neighborhood.
You still got your puns. I love it. I love it.
I mean, hey, what can I say? They don't call me the Punisher for nothing. But hey, it ain't just about puns. It's about the wonderful Kelly. So my goodness, as with all introductions, they're not allowed to be 5.5 million years long. They probably only covered, I don't know, 3 minutes of all that Kelly has to offer. So am I filling in any cavities on how you became the Kelly that you are today?
Sure, we could do that. We'll give the Cliff Notes version. I would like to say that I am a recovering financial advisor. I've been in the financial services industry for over 25 years. And about 10 years ago, my husband we just found out that he had had brain surgery. And over the course of the time from that surgery to where we are now, we've ended up doing several obstacle courses. It was one of the things that brought him, kind of caged him into recovering from his brain surgery and got him back on his feet again, which was really good because we were in our early 40s at the time with 2 young kids. And just the process of getting us all healthy again through our 40s and working in the financial services industry, as I did as a financial coach and a financial educator with 401k plans, I thought, okay, there's got to be a way to marry health and finance together. Because so many times when I sat down and met with participants in 401k plans, employees, 2 things I saw were really the negative detractors to having great health later on, or enjoying your retirement later on, is lack of health and lack of wealth. So I've kept thinking, okay, there's got to be a way to pull these together. So I eventually came across what is called the National Board Certification for Health and Wellness Coach, and went back to school. And over the course of gosh, I went back to school in March of 2020, made a decision before we all knew what happened back then. And went back to school, got all my certifications about a year and a half later. And now I am full on uh, working with people from a wellness advisor standpoint. But through the course of all this, we were doing obstacle courses. And that's really where the book came from, is just all the lessons that we learned while we were on the courses ourselves and the mindset that you have on the obstacle course. And I noticed as I was going out on my entrepreneur journey, there's a lot of the same mindsets that you have to apply to your life as well. And that's really what the book was all about. So it's kind of a combination of twofold, getting our own health together and just tackling life as best we can.
Tackling that life. That's right, indeed. With both arms, making sure you double leg it. That's right, indeed. Tackle it. Be like, that's right, indeed. Marathon woman in this piece. That's right, indeed. Can't stop the Majdan crew. Yeah. That's right, indeed.
Well, we'll say marathon. I've done one marathon. I'm like, I can check the box there. I don't know that, but although we are thinking about doing an ultra one time, and anyway, that's for another conversation another day.
Wait a second. Are you talking about the 100-mile marathon, ultra marathon?
No, 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 no.
Oh.
In Spartan language, when you look at the Spartan obstacle course challenges, the ultra is actually 30 miles across country. And basically what you're doing is you're doing the Spartan Beast, which is a 21K twice with 25, I think it's actually almost 29 obstacles. So you end up doing them basically, then you'll end up with 60 obstacles in about 30 miles. Have not done that
Oh.
yet. That's on our next list.
Oh, I get you. Just making sure the 8-pack abs appear as opposed to regular 6-pack, and make sure you got the gun show going. And hubby's ready to pull out a giant megaphone and be like the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. But hey, my goodness, my goodness. And funny enough, listening to some of your past conversations, so the marathons, they started the same year that your husband had the brain injury, right? Or at least a discovery about the brain injury?
So yeah, so basically, so if my husband had what is called a pineal gland cystic mass sitting in the middle of his brain, and it was causing double vision, which was what he finally admitted to me that was going on. Now he's a Marine, so it took him a while to even admit something was wrong. So, but while he was recovering from basically recovering from from brain surgery, I had a couple of my girlfriends and friends from work who said, "Hey, you need to go do this warrior dash with us." And I was like, "Okay, it sounds like fun. Let's do it." And then I kind of stopped. Wait a minute, what's a warrior dash? It's like, that kind of thing where you jump in. It sounds like a lot of fun, and you're like, "Oh, wait a minute, what did I just sign up for?" And it was this introduction to it was 3 miles, a little over 3 miles, and about, I don't know, 20 obstacles. And it was just fun. The only thing they left off, though, I mean, this is when you have good friends, right? They left off how muddy it was. I had no idea how muddy the course was going to be. Like literally you dive through a mud pit at the end. But my husband he could not participate at that time because it was just a few months, probably after he finally got off bed rest. And our little kids couldn't participate. They were too young at the time. But just seeing us and having how much fun we were having, and just the thought of absolutely, putting himself through the challenge of going through the courses and going through the obstacles was what really gave him that carrot that he needed to really push himself forward through his recovery. And that's how I start the book off, is with recovery, because if you think about it, we're all recovering from something, whether it's a physical or a mental or something from our past. We're all recovering from something. And it's just having that carrot out there, that's something that you want to go for, is what helps you push through what you need to push through in order to recover from what you've decided that you want to get through from an obstacle perspective or your recovery perspective. So
Yeah.
that's when all this crazy obstacle course challenges, races started.
Oh, there you go. That's right, indeed. Well, then again, now I think about it, I guess the Ultra might make it for the 10-year, maybe, anniversary of marathons every year.
Maybe we just completed this last weekend. We just completed our first Spartan trifecta, which means we did a long race. The beast raced on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we went back and we did the super, which was 6 miles, and then the sprint, which is 3 miles. And I think by the end of the day, we did like 49 obstacles the second day and 30 obstacles the first day. So I think that was, we saw a lot of people who were doing the ultra when we were running our beast. And we're like, okay, well, maybe that might be one we try in a couple of years. So that's just it's just the challenge to continue going through and pushing yourself, I think, is something as we get older we need to do. And it was really cool because we met a lot of there was one gentleman on the course we met who was 73 years old, basically 20 years older than me. And I asked him, I'm like, why are you out, what brought you out here to do this? And he said that the doctor gave him, he had a really elevated A1C level, and that would lead to a life of drugs. And he just didn't want that to happen. So he did what he could to lose the weight he needed to lose. I think he said he lost like 40 pounds, and he's been doing obstacle course races for the last 3-4 years, and he's 73. So that's just what I hope to impart on people is like, you have to take care of yourself, and you're never, it's never too late to start.
Oh, wow, that's what I'm talking about. Role model swag right there. So was he leaving anybody in the dust?
No, he was really kind of cute. He was just making a steady pace. We were kind of leapfrogging him because I don't know whether he was doing all of the obstacles. So, you of course have to stop, do your obstacle, and then you continue along the way. And we would just kind of keep coming across him as we were going. But he was steady. Like he was out there. It was just really impressive. The people that you meet while you're on the courses, they're really inspirational.
Ah, well, that's what I'm talking about indeed. Because I was about to say I thought I was getting one of those older seasoned folks who probably smokes a pack a day of cigs, was probably a marine like your husband, probably dusting people still. Be like, how the hell is he dusting all of us 30 and 40-year olds? The hell's going on? I thought it was gonna be one of them stories for a second. I'm like, oh yeah, there we go. That's the role model swag.
Yeah, no, there's but although I could see some old crouchy Marines out there doing that I wouldn't put them past it.
Heck yeah, be like, yeah, back in my day, I'd be done this race a lot sooner. Y'all gotta put some up into it. I'm
Yeah.
only going at half here.
You can definitely see that's Full Metal Jacket on you.
Heck yeah, indeed. That's right, indeed. Well, speaking of conversation with inspirational folks, what you consider your most inspirational conversation or interesting character that you met while doing the marathons, or was the man the one who won the gold medal?
Well, I think like the gentleman that we talked to, he was absolutely inspirational. There's also so neat on the courses. A lot of times what they do is they have a lot of groups that bring out our wounded warriors, and they take them along the course. There's a gentleman in front of us in the sprint on our third race this weekend who had an amputated leg. So he had one of those, I kind of call them bouncy legs. I know that's not the right thing, but it's like a spring for a leg. And just watching him go through, and the gentlemen that were with him helping him through over the rocks and everything was just, I love seeing that out there because it gives you that, you know, it helps you put your life into perspective. I still have all my appendages. I have not gone through anything crazy like that. And know that, you know, every obstacle that we all go through in our own life, we have our own thing that we're bringing to it. And not like comparison wise, like it's worse than ours, but it just gives you a little bit more appreciation of, well, maybe life's not so bad. And maybe these are things that I can definitely get over because there's a lot of things I have. And when you see people who are still pushing through it, and they maybe not have an arm that you have, and you're like, this is great. It's it's so neat to see that they don't give up and the people around them are not giving up, and just pushing through. So those are always really, it it's always neat to see those folks out on the course.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So my goodness. So with all the courses you've read, you decided to put pen to paper and join the business of immortality lessons from the obstacle course. So what inspired the magical book?
We've done so many of the races, so we've been doing them for almost 10 years now. We probably get at least about 3 a year. And as I was going back through and I was telling some people about the stories, and one of the stories in particular was this one obstacle that I couldn't it took me 3 races to get over, and it was finally my daughter was there with us, and it was finally the thought that I had to get her over it, and knowing that the whole thing I was about to give up on myself, but then when it became important for me to be get over this obstacle so I could help her over it, it really cemented to me how I am supposed to be as a mother and my role model, that I need to be as a mother and as a parent. And it's okay for our kids to see us fall. It's okay for them to see us struggle. It's just the fact that it's more important, though, that they also see us not give up. So relaying that story to a friend of mine, and then another one where I was very fearful of getting hurt on an obstacle, which kind of surprised me as well, and facing my fears and how I finally did the next race that we did, and I came across this obstacle. I was like, okay, I'm not going to let it get to me this time. Uh, I just started putting the pieces together, seeing how I was approaching obstacles on the course, and then I saw myself turning around and approaching them in my life the same way, because about the same point in time, I decided to leave corporate life and go out on my own as an independent RIA with a group. And that was complete, like losing the cushy salary to having to really go out and fend for myself. I'm not, I think the courses really helped me dig into myself and find that and tap into the mindset. Okay, I can do this, and that confidence that I needed. So putting all of that together was really what really started me to think about, okay, how do we put this together? And then of course I had a friend of mine say, you should just write the book. I'm like, okay, I'll write the book. Took me a while, but as putting it together was like, okay, this is great, because a lot of people don't have we don't look at life's obstacles the way that I think we should sometimes, as in they're supposed to be there. Life's not supposed to be easy, and everything is a challenge, unfortunately, and sometimes it's an easy challenge, sometimes it's a hard challenge, but yet we have such a positive can-do attitude when we go out and face them on the course. My thought was, well, why can't we have that positive can-do attitude when we face them in life? Because you're going to face them anyway. So face them with a little bit more resilience and determination and maybe strategy. And therefore you can get through them like you do on the course. So that's where it all kind of pulled together.
That's what I'm talking about, dates. So it's probably the most challenging part about putting it together because I'm sure there were some parts you're like, oh, this is gonna be perfect as soon as you write it, and then you reread it and you're like, oh God, no. It's like, this is not what conquerors are gonna carry today.
There was definitely parts of that. I have to admit that I got a little long-winded in a few areas, and I had a really good editor. I definitely, especially if you're a first person going through and writing a book, having a good editor that's patient with you and can read through it. And there were many times I read it out loud. I spent lots of hours at my desk reading it out loud and redoing lots of pieces of it, so that it would be it would still be engaging and tell the story, and hopefully gave the lesson that I really wanted to portray in that chapter, with in brevity, instead of a long and losing the reader. And I didn't want to do that. So because I wanted them to get to the end of I wanted them to get the story, get the idea, get how they can apply it to their life. So I end each chapter with some questions and kind of, think through this. How does this apply to your life? And then some questions for people to, as I say, questions to ponder. So hopefully it'll give them a little bit of fuel to overcome whatever challenges they have, or at least give them some thoughts to do so.
Definitely some thoughts indeed. Cause yeah, you're definitely right. Cause yeah, it's like, oh, first book. I gotta go to the great mountain of Sinai and get these 10 commandments, and I must give them the true 666 laws of wellness all at once. And it's like, oh no, 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 just stick with 10, buddy. It's like, oh, well, okay. In this case, stick with five.
Exactly. You don't want to give too much.
So my goodness, so now that you are a wellness advisor and you come from the fine natural advisory field, you've combined both in the way as a fiduciary wellness advisor. So what does that entail? So how does your past as a financial advisor play in your role as a wellness advisor?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, one thing that I when I was going through my course, it was a year-long course to get certified as a functional health coach. And I was looking at all my wonderful cohorts in my group, and all these ladies or guys are they're coming from the health side. They're either a physical trainer or a personal trainer or a nutritionist or nurse or I mean yoga instructor. I'm like all walks in life on the health side. I'm sitting here being the only financial advisor in this course going, what in the world am I doing here? But as I kept thinking about it and speaking with other health coaches, one thing I noticed, and this is just neither good nor bad, it's just what it is, but many health coaches they sell kind of like I call a house product. They have their own product that they're also pushing as a supplement or a shake or an exercise program or something in that degree. And they have a great solution for people, which is wonderful. But I really kind of pulled back someone who did a full strategic or planning type for wellness. So, given my background from the financial side as a financial coach and financial educator and working through it as from the advisor side, I thought, okay, well, what if I help people plan their wellness and really work through what it is they need to do from what I call kind of like a cap philosophy to put a cap on your budget as well, too, from a budget perspective, too, as get clear about your goals, be aware of where you at, and make a plan to bridge the gap, so to speak. So that's what I do with my clients now. Instead of selling a product, I help them find the best product based on what they're looking for and what they need. And that's the biggest thing I hope people really look to for themselves is that this great, wonderful world of wellness that we have and this whole longevity push that we have, they're expecting it to be like a $7 trillion business by the year 2025. And if you think about that, where are they getting the money from? They're getting the money from all of us as consumers, which is great. That means we have a lot of products, but that also leads to a lot of overwhelm. So I always tell people, I'm like, before you buy something, before you go into and spend your hard earned money, make sure you've really thought through this kind of filter of, is this really something I'm going to use? Am I going to commit myself to it? Is this really going to solve the problem that I need solved before you buy something? Because there's going to be a lot of things for you to buy and a lot of great sales tools out there. But the only thing that's really going to work is the thing that you're going to stick with. So really think hard and try not to push that sales button or that I'll give my credit card button on emotion, but take a step back and really think through if it's something you're going to really use.
That's what I'm talking about indeed. So do you have like a legend where the stock market is the gym and I guess I don't know. We're planning for retirement. It's like a dietary plan. Like how does it even work? Because I'm like, oh, what if she's got us a bunch of terms and bridging over? Because it's a $7 trillion industry. Because yeah, like health and fitness, folks want to live long and shoot. I mean, there's a diet for everything that gets recycled every few years, and people focus on the T without realizing, oh, the first three letters, it's die. Avoid, avoid.
Never thought about that, but that's true. It is true. Well, no, you're right though. I mean, it is. It's so overwhelming. There are so many products and they keep coming out. And I think we've got a great group of people who are, I would say, influencers that are aging. And so now everything is about anti-aging and longevity and all this great stuff. but it gets a little bit confusing too. And then when you start looking at, like, the first thing I have my clients do is do a spreadsheet of how much, where they're spending their wellness spend on and what it's for and why they buy it. And you find a lot of redundancy there as well too. So in an age where we need to get our dollar to stretch further, we don't want to compromise our health for it, but you've got to work to balance the two.
There we go. So that means don't have a pot of protein as a pot of gold, you say?
No, eat your protein. Protein's really important.
Ah, so there is a protein leprechaun lying around somewhere. All right. There we go.
Protein, you know what, Dom? Protein is one of the biggest things that's so important to us as we get older. And it's because we need to continue building our muscles. And that's why I think it's so cool seeing these older folks out on the course. And that's why I love it that, my husband and I are 50 plus, and oh my gosh, we were running circles around our son who was 20 this weekend. I'm like, come on, dude, speed it up. But
Woohoo!
but it's so important as we get older for men and women to keep their strength. And there's so much more research now that shows why it's so important. So, especially from women perspective, to stay off osteoporosis and sarcopenia, oh, if I can say that word right. And then also just for men as well too. So it's cool seeing, and I want to continue to see people as we age not give up on this physical stuff. I think that's it's another soapbox I get on top of when people sit there and say, "Oh, I'm too old." I'm like, "No, you're not. You're not too old. Stop saying that because
Preach.
it's not true."
Preach. Preach. Yes. Preach.
Oh man. So that's, you want to get me going on anyone they start doing that. I'm like, no, 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 no. There's anyway, there's always something going on. It's either it scares you, which is totally understandable, or you just don't want to do it, which is totally fine as well too. But at least identify which way it is. And if it is something limiting in your mindset, saying, "Oh, I just can't do things like that," then we need to work on that mindset, because really you can. I tell people we do obstacle courses. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't do that." I'm like, "Yes, you can. You just it's just decide, is it fear that's holding you back, or is you just really don't want to play in the mud?" Which playing in the mud is totally fun as you get older. But anyway, that's just, maybe I'm a little strange, but
Oh, don't worry. You've had strange on this show before. Don't worry. You're good. Playing in the mud's pretty normal. You can always take a shower, wash it off. You'll be fine.
well, you can. I think sometimes people are afraid to, like, they don't want to get dirty, or they don't want to get hurt, or because I had those fears as well when I was first going through these obstacle courses. But now when I've done so many of them, now it's natural. And now I don't feel like uh, when I go to work on something that's beyond my comfort level in my business and in my life, I don't worry about it so much anymore. So I think that's a combination of just continuing to push yourself, and honestly, I think it's just a benefit of getting older. You're not as concerned to what people think anymore.
That's right. F you whippersnappers. Get off my lawn and my Mercedes. That's right. That's right indeed.
Yeah.
Take your TikTok and put it back on the clock, dang gummit. That's right. Stop.
Yeah, I don't do TikTok. I don't think I'll ever do TikTok.
Woohoo! There we go. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. So my goodness, since you've been on a bit of an interview tour talking about the goodness of financial advice in terms of your wonderful fitness and wellness, is there a question that you wish folks would ask you more often when you're on the guest side of the microphone?
I think, well, you did one, it was about the wellness advisor, because I think that was really important as well, because I think it's just a different way to approach things. But the other is why it's important maybe to really do reach for your health, and to keep challenging yourself no matter how old you are, is face that fear, because it's scary. Life is always going to be scary, but as you chip away at it and you do little things that help you face your fear, you learn to, I don't think you ever really get rid of the fear, but you learn to contain it and compartmentalize it, and understand your fear a little bit better, and understand what's really behind it that stops you. And recognize whether it's something that's really going to hurt you or whether it's a minor thing. And you might get bruised and scraped up, and like I did this weekend, but you you'll heal, and you'll be stronger because you went through it.
Ah, I hear you. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. So my goodness. So I guess fear of getting hurt was one of them. Was there another fear that you had to conquer it? You look behind and be like, all right, so what's the root
Oh
of this
yeah.
fear here?
Well, I will say the other one that I kind of recognized, what I thought that actually surprised me, was there are a few obstacles that, you have that comparison demon that people are like, oh my gosh, people are getting through it so much easier and so much more graceful than me. But there were a couple ones where, and I even wrote about it in the book, about uh, that that perfection demon, that thing that makes us sit there and say, oh, well, we don't go ahead and jump and do something until I know I can do it perfectly. And I'm a Virgo, so I will, like, perfection is the thing for me. Like, I have to make it really right. And I've learned over the years to accept my imperfections and to just continue going forward. And I liken this in one of the obstacles. It was an easy obstacle relatively for you to just walk up and down. But for some reason, I just could not get my balance. And I was afraid I'd fall off, which really wasn't that far, but it was too easy of an obstacle not to do. So it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to bear crawl it, which meant I, like, bear crawled it up, and then I had to turn around and bear crawl it down. So my daughter had the camera and got a really great snapshot of my butt at the end. But I was like, okay, well, yes, I had to bear crawl it, but I got over it. And that's all that really matters. Wasn't the most graceful, wasn't the most elegant, kind of left some really good, entertaining pictures, but I got over it. And that sometimes is the biggest thing when you're really working with this perfection demon, this perfection fear, is that it's not going to be perfect. And it's going to be what it is. And it's going to be you. And that's good enough.
Ah, good enough indeed. If not great enough, my goodness, my goodness. I know you were my kind of people. Didn't know you were a Virgo. When's your birthday?
The 26th of August.
Ah, there you go. Funny enough, I got two colleagues with that same birthday. I'm September 6th.
You're right around the corner.
That's right indeed. Virgos are the best dang gummit. That's right
Yeah,
indeed.
I
We
think we
age the best. That's right
are.
indeed. That's right indeed. Folks will think we're older, but we're actually younger. That's right indeed. And folks will think we're younger physically, and it's like, oh yeah, yes indeed. Like, what is this? The fountain of youth? Yes, yes indeed. That's right. Finding
It's
all the
mindset.
things. Yeah, that's right indeed. That mindset indeed. That's right indeed. So speaking of mindset, I'm sure that's a big piece of your wonderful wellness advising indeed. So folks can probably invest into their wonderful IRA of their mind. So my goodness, so how do you help folks with their mindset? Because I'm sure that's a huge one folks have to conquer when it comes to coaching.
Well, I think all of us, yeah, would if we're working with coaching and we all need to work on our mindset a bit. And it's just picking out that piece that you're trying to work on, that object or the goal that you're focusing on. So for the work that I do with folks with the wellness plan, I call it helping them create their longevity mindset, which means basically is, how do you really want to live your later years? What does that vision look like to you? What's important to you? What does that what does it mean to you to have your health in later years? And when you create a very positive longevity mindset, then that helps you do what you need to do today in order to have that long life that you want to live in your future. So in a way, it's really coming to terms with what's going on. And I mean, for me, it was I thought I was living healthy. I was working and doing everything I could, but oh my gosh, in my late 40s, there was this one time where I almost fell asleep on the Dallas Turnpike. I'm like, that's a scary place to almost fall asleep. And I sat there in my car in a parking lot before my next meeting. And I was going, okay, this cannot be how the rest of my life is going to live. And it just really, sometimes we have to have that moment that just hits us in the face. And you just have to look at it by, okay, is this really how I want my life to be? So, like for the gentleman that we ran into on the course, It was his doctor giving him that high, the report of his high A1C and the report that he'd have to have pills for the rest of his life. And he's like, yeah, no, that's not going to be my life. That's not what I want. So every one of us has something different that finally hits us to say, how do I really want to live my life going forward? And what's that breaking point for us? Or what's that turning point for us? And when you get that turning point, and you think about what you want your future to be from a health perspective, and you start to create that longevity mindset, which helps you start to do the things you need to do today to have that view that you see for yourself. So that's getting up and working out, or it's getting up and doing that walk. It's saying no to the extra helping. It's whatever it is that is you need to work on at that point to move you along. It's taking that break and taking care of your stress. It's getting the sleep that you need. So all of these things are part of creating that well-being, that well life that you need to have so that you can have a long, well life and you can live your life in later years.
Yes, indeed. Later years, indeed. So glad you're still here, and your husband too. It's right, indeed. Because almost falling asleep on the road is never fun, especially what was it, the Dallas Turnpike? You said?
Oh, it was a Dallas Turnpike. It was in the middle of the afternoon as well, too, in July. I was like, oh my gosh, this is not a good thing. So it just could it was a good wake up call that unfortunately, I guess I needed at that time.
So my goodness, a fun question for you. If your fabulous book, Lessons from the Obstacle Course, 5 Strategies to Conquer the Muddy Fields of Life. If that book were a food, what would it be and why?
I love this question that you ask people. I was actually thinking about that today, going, okay, what would it be? And I know exactly what it would be. It would be a plate of very wet, yummy barbecue ribs. And the reason
Sweet.
why, yes, the reason why is that if you think about it from an obstacle, you like when you go to eat ribs, I mean, you gotta commit. Like you gotta go in and you can't just sit there and do a one-handed rib eating, especially when they're really good, juicy barbecue ribs, because you're just gonna get messy. So you just gotta get in there, you gotta commit, you gotta just be okay with grabbing your corn on the cob with your messy barbecue hands, even maybe use some utensils if you got some baked beans with it or whatever the case may be. But that's the same thing with obstacles in life. Like sometimes you got to commit. You got to go in, you're going to get dirty, you're going to get messy, and no matter what, you just go in and get it done. Just like you would. 'Cause you're not going to pause in the middle of eating your barbecue ribs because then you clean up and then you got to go get in there and get dirty again. So you might as well just get it all done at the front. Just do it.
Yeah, get her done. First guest to actually say barbecue ribs. You could tell she's a Texas gal, indeed. The barbecue.
They're really good.
Yes, indeed. You're so right, because like you have to really commit. It's like, yeah, you can wipe your fingers off if you want, but that ain't gonna work. It's like you gotta really just stick with it. You gotta just deal with the red finger looking good. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. And another source of protein, no less.
Yeah, well, that is true. Yes, that's true. And I don't know if there's a vegan option or whatever, but I don't know. I'm a meat gal, so I'll still go for the barbecue ribs.
We like meat gals here. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. I like to joke about the vegans. It's one of my inside, not so inside jokes for no reason. Like kind of like flat earthers, but hey, it's all.
I just say they eat, the cows and everybody they're on a vegan diet, but so in a way you're getting that. I don't know, that's a stretch, but that's all right. I still like my meat.
Ain't nothing
It's a
wrong with
good source of
stretching.
protein.
See, there you go. Good source of protein. They call them sacred cows for a reason. The cows are
Yep,
vegan. That's right, indeed. Make sure it's not a golden calf, or well, you're gonna be in for it. Might have to bring back all 800 commandments for no reason. That's right,
right,
indeed.
right.
That's right, indeed. Yeah, yeah. But hey, anyway, so my goodness, so since you're all about obstacles, fun question for you. So, what would you consider your biggest obstacle that actually became a setup for your success?
You know, in our world as a registered investment advisor, we have different places where we can hang our hat. And there was probably I hung my hat with a group of folks, a great group of folks, but just wasn't the right fit for me. And it was a very uncomfortable and difficult breakup. And like I said, great people, just wasn't a good fit. And the breakup wasn't really good. But I will say it was a good, and now that there's some space behind it, there's been some good that's come out of it because it really helped me take a step and reevaluate really where I was going with my business and where I wanted to be. And that's what really drove me to look at the whole health and financial connection and has moved me down this road. So, as painful as it was, I think for both sides, it was one of those challenging obstacles that I think I needed to go through to get me to this point.
So I'm talking about indeed. To that point, like a PowerPoint. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. It's like, hey, we're a big happy family. Believe
Yes.
in the family. It's like, you know, we're the mafia, right? No! Oh, we're just joking. We're not the mafia. We're gonna make it really bad for you for no reason. Oh, watch your kneecaps. So, are you gonna bust a cap in the kneecaps? Not this time. Not this time.
Yeah,
That's
be
right.
careful about that.
Yeah, that's right indeed. If she says stop the cap, then well, yeah. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Well, good old smooth transition, not so smooth transition indeed. So we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive. And that is, if you don't wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but you're still in the current year, what advice would you give to yourself?
Not to worry about I think not to worry about what other people think so much. I think that was a real holding back or a stumbling block for me very at very young ages. So it would be to be me and not worry about what other people think.
Yep, that's right. They could be thinking about one of those little monkeys with the little cymbals, clapping them together. That's right. Don't worry about them at all. They're probably not even thinking about you. That's right
Yeah,
indeed.
well, and that's the biggest thing is that I knew think I had a really good friend of mine. Unfortunately, lost her too early, but we would occasionally call each other and say, "Okay, I'm having a world revolves around me problem." So we would recognize it, and we would help walk each other through it. But I think that does hold us back sometimes too, and sometimes too much so. Those thoughts and those fears, and it is true. No one's really thinking, and you just need to do you. And who cares? And who cares if someone is thinking and they think bad things? They're probably not somebody you're going to have in your life or you want to have in your life.
Heck yeah, indeed. That's right indeed. Let them think about show tunes all day. They'll be fine. That's right indeed. Show tunes and to-do lists.
Yeah.
That's right indeed. That's all they're probably thinking about. Oh yeah, man, that monkey. Yep. That's right indeed. That's right.
I'm trying to picture that. I'm like, I don't think I can picture that one. But I do picture the little monkey with a hat with the little symbols.
Yeah, there you go. Yep, just
I
clapping
do picture
together,
that.
just banging them. Yeah, yeah, there
Yeah.
we go. You got it. You got it.
Is it George or something like that? Is that what they call him? George? George the monkey? Or am I thinking
Yeah.
of something else? That's Curious George.
Yeah, definitely Curious George. I don't recall off the top of my head where he went full monkey with the suit clapping two cymbals together in a circus, but hey, maybe it was in one of those pages and I forgot. There's quite a few of those Curious Georges out there. He stays curious for a reason.
Yeah.
Yep.
It probably wasn't him, but I guess I relate the two.
So folks are going to be screaming, yeah, when they are at this part of the interview. And for those who need to stay curious about keeping up with all the stuff that you're doing in the world of the kind, Kelly, what's the best way for folks to do so?
Oh, thanks for asking that, Dom. So people can reach me. Everything kind of goes through my website. And that's kellymajdan.com. And it's Kelly with a Y, very simple, KellyMajdan. Think of Major Dan. And you can see access to the blog and my book. And when we announce that I'm going to be rolling out, taking the individual coaching to group coaching with this wellness plan. So they can get on the email list for that as well, too, if they're interested.
Sweet. So I'm talking about indeed. So I'm talking about indeed. We're that right, folks. Gonna put a link to all of Kelly's stuff in the show notes. So that way, one day you're waking up in the bed one day and you see her with a creepy smile on her face with the Matthew Lesko dollar suit going on / Army Marine camouflage going on. You know what's happening. That's right, indeed. That's right,
That'd be
indeed.
kind of scary.
Don't worry, it's not scary. They'll just wake up again after blacking out for some strange reason, and they'll just be doing sit-ups, and it'll be all about wonderful, wonderful wellness advising. They'll be as thin as a dollar bill. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. She's like, "Yeah, Magus, we're here today. You see this stack of dollars right here? We're gonna get your belly as thin as this stack of dollars right here. That's right, indeed. Bonus points if you get it even thinner than this. That's right, indeed. So can we have water? Maybe if you have meat first, and then maybe your pudding, but only then." That's right.
Well, I didn't think about that one. We're about just being overall healthy. We'll figure that out.
That's right,
Maybe you
indeed.
save some of those dollars while you're trying to be healthy.
Heck yeah. The more dollars you save, the more you holler, because dollars will make you holler.
Yeah, very, very true. Very true.
Well, before the penguin tries to come in and takes the monkey suit because he's tired of hearing all that banging and clanging. Any party worse before we close up shop, Kelly?
Just know that you're going to be going through challenges in life. That's just where challenges, that's just what life is. It's never going to be completely easy. So try your best to have a positive attitude about it and reach into your bag of friends and people and just inner strength and know that you can make it through any challenge. There's really no challenge in life you can't make it through.
If you're hearing this part of the episode, that means you're one cool individual. Thanks a bunch for tuning in, and if you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to share it with at least one other person in your network. Bonus points for 3. And be sure to check out the backlog too while you're at it, because there are hundreds of wonderful episodes to choose from as well.